Long ago, before tall buildings and noisy roads, there was a small village called Umudara. It was a village hidden between green hills and long rivers. The air was clean and the nights were calm. People woke up with the sun and slept when the moon climbed high into the sky. Life in Umudara was simple. Every morning, roosters crowed from different compounds. Women swept their yards with long brooms made from palm leaves. Children ran barefoot, laughing as they chased each other along narrow paths. Men walked to their farms with hoes resting on their shoulders, greeting one another with smiles and kind words. There was peace in Umudara. Real peace. People trusted one another. Doors were not locked at night. A hungry child could eat from any home. Quarrels were rare, and when they happened, elders settled them under the old iroko tree at the center of the village. That iroko tree had stood there longer than anyone could remember. Its roots were thick and deep, just like the traditions of the people. Meetings were held there, judgments were made there, stories of the ancestors were told there. The elders believed the village was blessed, and for many years it truly was. At the edge of the village lived a humble man named Obina and his wife Nwanyibuife. They were not rich, but they were respected. Obina was a farmer. He grew yams, cassava, and maize. His hands were rough, but his heart was gentle. Nwanyibuife was known for her kindness. She helped women during childbirth and never turned away someone in need. For many years, they had no child. They prayed, they waited, they hoped. Sometimes, late at night, Nwanyibuife would sit outside and look at the stars, tears quietly rolling down her face. Obina would sit beside her and say nothing, only holding her hand. In Umudara, children were wealth, and childlessness was pain. But fate had its own timing. One evening, during the season of heavy rains, something unusual happened. The sky darkened earlier than normal. Thick clouds gathered, and the wind blew through the village like a warning. Birds flew low, and dogs whimpered for no clear reason. Then the rain started. It was not gentle rain. It was strong and loud, as if the sky had broken open. Thunder rolled again and again. Lightning flashed, lighting up the whole village. People rushed indoors, shutting wooden doors and whispering prayers. That same night, inside Obina's hut, Nwanyibuife screamed in labor. Women rushed in to help her. The rain beat hard on the roof as she cried out in pain. Hours passed. The storm refused to stop. Then, at the loudest sound of thunder, a baby cried. A baby girl. The moment she cried, the rain slowed. The thunder softened. The wind rested. By morning, the storm was gone. The sun rose gently, as if nothing strange had happened. News spread fast. Obina has a child, a girl, after all these years. Villagers came with gifts, yams, palm oil, cloth, and blessings. Songs filled the compound. Laughter returned to the air. But some elders noticed something that made them quiet. The baby was unusually calm. Her skin glowed softly, even as a newborn. Her eyes were large and bright, watching everything. An old woman whispered, "This child carries a strong spirit." Another elder shook his head slowly. Strong blessings often walk with strong trials. They named her Adana, first daughter of the people. Years passed. Umudara continued its quiet life, but Adana grew in a way no one expected. By the time she was 5, people stopped whatever they were doing just to look at her. Her smile warmed hearts. Her laughter sounded like music. Her skin shone under the sun, and her eyes held a strange depth for a child. By 10, visitors asked questions. Who is that girl? Is she from this village? She looks like a blessing. Women admired her. Men stared longer than they should. Nwanyibuife noticed it first. She saw how people looked to her daughter. She began to worry. Beauty, she knew, was not always a gift. At the market square, whispers followed Adana. She is too beautiful. No girl should be like that. Men will fight because of her. Obina laughed it off at first. She is just a child, he said. Let her grow. But deep inside, even he felt uneasy. The elders also began to talk under the iroko tree. This village has known peace for many years, one elder said. Peace is fragile, another replied. One spark can burn a forest. They did not yet know how true those words were. As the sun set over Umudara, casting golden light across farms and homes, Adana stood outside her father's hut, watching birds return to their nests. She smiled, innocent and unaware. The village was calm, too calm, because unknown to them all, the beauty growing quietly in Umudara would soon test loyalty, love, and the very soul of the village. And this was only the beginning. The years passed quietly in the village of Umudara, just like the slow movement of the river that flowed beside it. Seasons came and went. Yams were planted and harvested, children were born, and elders were buried with honor. But as everything else changed slowly, Adana changed quickly. By the time she turned 12, it was clear to everyone that she was not an ordinary girl. When Adana walked through the village paths, people turned their heads. When she spoke, others listened, even when she said nothing important. Her face carried a soft glow, and her presence made people feel something they could not explain. Some felt joy, some felt desire, some felt fear. Adana did not yet understand the power she carried. Every morning she helped her mother fetch water from the stream. Women would pause their conversations to watch her walk by. Some smiled kindly, others forced their smiles. Your daughter is growing too fast, one woman said to Huani Buife one morning. Huani Buife nodded, but said nothing. She had begun to worry deeply. At night, when Adana slept, Huani Buife would sit beside her and study her face. She prayed quietly. Please, protect this child, she whispered. Do not let her beauty become her punishment. In the fields, young men started to notice. Boys who once laughed freely now stumbled over their words when Adana was near. They competed silently. Who could carry her bucket? Who could walk beside her? Who could make her laugh? One boy, Chinedu, watched her from afar every day. He was quiet and respectful. He admired her beauty, but more than that, he admired her kindness. Another, Okorie, was bold and proud. He followed her openly, boasting to his friends that Adana would one day be his wife. Adana noticed the attention, but she did not understand it. She still saw herself as a child. At the village market, things slowly began to change. Traders from nearby villages came and asked questions. Who is that girl? Is she married? How old is she? Such questions disturbed the elders. One afternoon, under the iroko tree, the elders met quietly. This girl draws too much attention, one elder said. She is young, but time moves fast. The heart of man is weak, the oldest elder said slowly. We must be careful. But no one knew what to do. Back at home, Obina began to notice changes too. Men greeted him with strange smiles. Some praised his daughter too much. Others joked in ways that made him uncomfortable. One evening, Obina spoke to his wife. Our daughter must be careful, he said. I know, Huani Buife replied. I see the eyes watching her. They agreed to keep Adana closer to home. But beauty cannot be hidden forever. One market day, Adana followed her mother to sell vegetables. The sun was high and the market was full. As Adana arranged tomatoes on a mat, silence slowly spread around her. Men stopped bargaining. Women paused mid-sentence. Even children stared. A stranger stepped closer. She looks like a carved image, too beautiful to be real, he said loudly. Huanyibuife pulled Adana closer, her heart beating fast. That night, rumors spread across Umudara. Not everyone admired Adana. Some women felt threatened. "She will steal our husbands," one woman said bitterly. "She is too proud," another lied, even though Adana had done nothing wrong. Jealousy began to grow like weeds. Adana sensed the change. She felt eyes follow her. She heard whispers stop when she entered a place. Confused, she asked her mother, "Why do people look at me that way?" Huanyibuife held her and said softly, "Because people often fear what they do not understand." That night, Adana dreamed for the first time. She saw herself standing in the middle of the village, surrounded by men pulling her in different directions. She cried for help, but no sound came out. Above her, the iroko tree croaked loudly. She woke up shaking. From that day, peace slowly began to leave Umudara. The dream stayed with Adana long after she woke up. She opened her eyes before dawn, her body cold with fear. Her heart beat fast, as if she had been running. For a moment, she did not know where she was. Then she saw the familiar mud walls of her parents' hut and heard the soft breathing of her mother beside her. Adana sat up slowly. The dream felt too real. She could still feel hands pulling at her arms. She touched her chest and whispered a prayer, even though she did not fully understand why. Outside, the village of Umudara was quiet. The moon hung low in the sky, and the iroko tree stood tall and silent in the distance. From that day, something changed inside Adana. In the days that followed, Adana became more quiet. She still helped her mother, still greeted elders with respect, but her laughter came less often. When people looked at her for too long, she lowered her eyes. When boys tried to walk too close, she stepped away gently. Huanyibuife noticed. One morning at the stream, as Adana filled her clay pot with water, her mother watched her carefully. "You have been thinking too much," Huanyibuife said softly. Adana hesitated. "Mama, I had a dream." Huanyibuife's hands paused. "What kind of dream?" Adana described the village square, the men, the pulling, the cracked iroko tree. As she spoke, her voice shook. Huanyibuife closed her eyes. Her heart grew heavy. She had heard elders say that dreams were messages, not just stories of the night. "That tree," she whispered, "the iroko does not break for nothing." That same week, trouble began to show its face. At the market, two young men argued openly over who would help Adana carry her basket. Their voices grew loud. People stopped to watch. One pushed the other. Women shook their heads. "She is still a child," someone muttered. "But beauty does not wait," another replied. Obina heard about it before sunset. That night, he called Adana to sit beside him. He looked at her face, so calm, so innocent, yet already carrying the weight of the village's eyes. "My daughter," he said gently, "you must be careful. Do not walk alone. Do not stay outside when the sun goes down." Adana agreed. "Yes, Papa." But even as she agreed, fear crept into her heart. She could not hide forever. Under the iroko tree, the elders met again. Their faces were serious. The oldest among them, Elder Madhu, leaned on his staff and spoke slowly. "The village is uneasy. Desire is growing where wisdom should be." Another elder sighed. "Beauty has become a fire. If we do not guide it, it will burn us." They agreed to speak to families, to warn the young men, to restore calm. But deep inside, some elders feared it was already too late. Meanwhile, Chinadu watched from a distance. He noticed how Adana's smile had faded. He noticed how people crowded her. His heart was full of concern, not hunger. He wanted to protect her, but he was only a young man with no power. Okwori, however, grew bolder. He began to boast openly. Adana will be my wife. No man can stop me. His words spread like smoke. One evening, as the sun dipped low, Adana stood alone by the river. The water moved slowly, reflecting the sky. She thought of her dream. She thought of the pulling hands. A sudden wind passed through the trees. Leaves rustled. For a moment, she felt as if the village itself was watching her. She hugged herself and whispered, "Who will protect me?" Far away, the iroko tree creaked softly, and in Umudara, unseen forces began to shift, quietly, patiently, waiting for the day everything would change.